and welcome to highlights of the 1994 Pacific Grand Prix, brought to you by Mircoprose and GP2Joey. It's the second round of the season, and F1 makes its debut around the tight and twisty Aida circuit in the first of two visits to Japan this year. Damon Hill was the surprise winner last time out in Brazil, beating Williams' teammate and pre-race favourite Ayrton Senna, with Benetton's Michael Schumacher taking third after a loose wheel at his final pit stop cost the German a likely win. In the Drivers' Championship, Hill leads the way as the new for 1994 point system sees 20 points for a win and an additional point for the fastest lap and pole position. Senna is second with Schumacher third ahead of his teammate Heinz Harald Frentzen and the Ligier of Alain Prost, who enters his final year as a driver, whilst Williams lead Benetton in the Constructors standings on 35 points, with Ligier-Prost third, McLaren fourth and Jordan fifth. In the news leading up to the race, Benetton bosses were incensed after some of their briefcases allegedly containing sensitive material was stolen by a taxi driver in Sao Paulo before being returned to the team, much to their relief. Reigning IndyCar champion Nigel Mansell declared he had been approached by several teams about a deal next year, whilst down at McLaren team boss Ron Dennis said his sole focus was on getting Senna to return to the team, complete with a works engine deal. Although just from where right now, nobody knows. On the eve of the weekend, it was then confirmed Benetton, rookies Bravo F1 and Ligier-Prost would all be running upgrades on their respective cars. Friday morning's 30-minute pre-qualifying session was a close battle for the 12 drivers and 6 teams all trying to break through into the race weekend qualifying, but with only 6 spots available, the pressure was really on the drivers from the start. In the end, it was the Andretti Chevrolet of Gilles de Ferran who topped the timing screens ahead of the Pacific of Mika Salo, with team boss Michael Andretti in third ahead of Bertrand Gachot in the Larousse and the Syntec pair of David Coulthard and Roland Ratzenberger. It all meant that Andretti would progress, joined by Pacific and Syntec, whilst their rivals Zakspeed, Bravo and Larousse were all forced to head home early, their race weekend already over. Friday afternoon's first qualifying session was intense as drivers fought to get used to the new and dusty circuit. As expected, Senna went quickest early on, but the Brazilian continued to struggle with a difficult-looking Williams chassis, while there were cheers for local rookie Ukio Katayama looking to get into the race. But there were a few gasps halfway through the session when Schumacher leapt to the top of the timing screens to go fastest by over 0.2 of a second. Ultimately, the German would remain unchallenged and easily claim the provisional pole ahead of Senna, with Prost taking a decent third in his upgraded car, whilst further back, Ferrari were really struggling, as both Davis and teammate Gerhard Berger struggled with a lack of front-end grip. Afterwards, Schumacher said he was happy with the chassis and electronic upgrades on his Benetton, whilst Senna openly questioned the legality of his rival's car, declaring that he had heard strange noises coming from the German's Ford engine, which of course were dismissed vigorously a little later by Schumacher and his boss Flavio Briatore. Saturday's second qualifying session was busy to say the least, as everyone fought to get even more track time on the new circuit. Davis improved once he got himself into the spare Ferrari, whilst teammate Berger continued to struggle. Up at the front though, Prost gave it his all, but was slower than Friday, whilst many anticipated the battle between Senna and Schumacher to be a close one. In the end though, the Benetton was just too strong for the Brazilian, and so it was that Schumacher claimed the pole and is second in as many races by just over 0.2 of a second. Hakkinen impressed in the McLaren on his way to 5th behind Frentzen in the second Benetton, whilst Hill took 7th ahead of Eddie Irvine and Rubens Barrichello in 10th, with the Tyrrell of Johnny Herbert splitting the pair. Davis eventually wound up 11th, whilst it was the unfortunate Ratzenberger and Katayama who both failed to qualify. Afterwards, Schumacher was confident he could go on to win the race, such was his confidence in his upgraded car. Senna meantime continued his row with Benetton, declaring again that the race stewards examined the German's car for its legality, whilst Prost admitted he hoped his car upgrades would be enough to fight for the win himself come 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. So it's Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna on the front row, with Alain Prost and Heinz Harald Frentzen on row 2. Row 3 is Mika Häkkinen and Damon Hill. Row 4 is Sean Alesi and Eddie Irvine. Row 5 is Johnny Herbert and Rubens Barrichello. Row 6 is Joey Davis and Martin Brundle. Row 7 is Carl Vendinger and JJ Leto. Row 8 is Olivier Panis and Gerhard Berger. Row 9 is Jos Verstappen and Bernd Schneider. Row 10 is Shilton Ferran and Derek Warwick. Row 11 is Mika Salo and Michele Alboreto. Row 12 is Pierluigi Martini and Christian Fittipaldi. And at the back it's Michael Andretti and the rookie David Coulthard. It's a cloudless blue sky as we get ready for the 83-lap Pacific Grand Prix as the red lights come on, the engine revs rise, and it's go, go! Schumacher's away well from the pole, but so too is Senna from second place. It's Prost in third, it's Frentzen fourth. As they come down under braking for the first corner, they've got to be careful because of the oil spill from the earlier Porsche Super Cup race, and Schumacher, he tiptoes around the outside and he remains in the lead. Fantastic stuff! Senna's trying to go through on the inside, but he can't get through there, and Schumacher just cuts the line. As they come down under braking for the hairpin, it's Schumacher still in front of Senna, with Prost third, it's Frentzen fourth, Häkkinen fifth, Hill sixth, Alesi seventh, Leto is eighth, Brundle is ninth, and it's Irvine 10th as we ride on board with Senna.
Yes, and Senna's got very good traction out of that hairpin up the hill now. He pulls to the inside of Schumacher and he goes through. So Ayrton Senna takes the lead. Fantastic pass. Schumacher just kind of gave it to him there, but I think that Schumacher's got a plan in his head because of the strategies that Benetton are probably going to be running, a different fuel and tyre strategy compared to Williams. But in the meantime, it's Senna up in front with Schumacher second. But where is Davis? Davis started 11th and he's dropped down, and there he goes on the inside. He's inside. He's past. That's Johnny Herbert's Tyrrell. So Davis is through. He's obviously had quite a poor opening lap in the Ferrari. Let's not forget he's in the spare Ferrari this weekend. But across the line for the first time, it's Senna from Schumacher. And the gap is 0.4 seconds. 0.4 of a second. It's half a second, and here's the replay of the start from Davis. Yes, this is going to be interesting to see now. What happens with Davis? Oh, he just hits the back of the Jordan there. And he gets bogged down and he drops down into 15th position. He's got to be very careful. All the cars obviously are tiptoeing around this first turn because of the oil spill earlier today. But Davis goes through there tentatively. He passes 3 cars around the outside, so that was pretty impressive there. And that's Vendinger! Vendinger with smoke billowing out of the back of his Sauber. His Mercedes Ilmore has let go in a massive way. And back up front, Schumacher. Schumacher goes for the inside. In a copybook of what Senna did to him, it's Schumacher in the lead now, ahead of Senna. Yes, so there's Bernd Schneider. So Bernd Schneider's had to come into the pits in the Tyrrell. We understand he's had a little bit of a Porsche engine misfire there as Sean Alesi just runs slightly wide at the tight hairpin, and he bundles the rest of them up with JJ Leto behind him and Martin Brundle and Joey Davis. And further back, that's Coulthard in the Simtech, the Scottish rookie, the young driver. He's driving phenomenally well in the Simtech. He's got Shilton Ferran in the Andretti Chevrolet behind him, and De Ferran's going to try and go through on the inside, and I think he's going to make it. He goes through. Coulthard drops back, and Davis slips it up the inside of Martin Brundle. Fantastic stuff. Davis in the spare Ferrari as Herbert goes through on the inside of... Ouch! They collide. That's Herbert hitting Irvine in the Jordan. Irvine gets going again. I don't think his car might not be too badly damaged. Yes, but Herbert's lost part of his front wing as we see Davis tried to go through down the inside of Sean Alesi, and he's through. So Davis moves up into 7th place. So steady progress being made now by the 1991 world champion in the spare Ferrari. So as Herbert comes into the pits, an absolutely appalling race for the Tyrrell team has now just gotten even worse because Bernd Schneider's had to pit at the end of the first lap, and now Johnny Herbert on lap 5 has had to come into the pits as well. And Davis runs wide. He pushes the Ferrari too hard. He tries to defend on the inside, but I think Alesi's just got the run on him. Alesi's going to try and go through on the inside. Under braking, he's through. No, he's not. Davis goes through and is smoking. Look at this. Alesi goes through. Fantastic racing. My goodness me. Davis got through and then he outbraked himself and Alesi goes back ahead of him. Fantastic stuff. Yes, but meantime, Schumacher and Frentzen now has gone through as Davis finally manages to get past Sean Alesi there, and I think he's managed it. But Senna has dropped down to 3rd position. So unseen by us, Heinz Harald Frentzen has now gotten ahead of the Williams, with Schumacher in the lead by 2.1 seconds and steadily pulling away. from Frentzen, his teammate, and Ayrton Senna in third place. It's Damon Hill in fourth, with Alain Prost in fifth. But Prost is coming under attack, and Davis is going through. My goodness me, this second Ferrari has come alive. He is absolutely flying as Irvine runs wide of the hairpin as well. Goodness me, everybody seems to be outbreaking themselves. Quite extraordinary set of events happening here today. But Davis is up into fifth position. He's 8.3 seconds away from Schumacher. And he's on the attack of Damon Hill. He's already on the gearbox of his countryman. And he's trying to go through on the inside. He's weaving this way and that way as he tries to get through. Does he get the Ferrari stopped in time? Yes, he does. He covers the line. You can hear him blipping the throttle fantastically in that way that he does. So similar to the way that his good friend Ayrton Senna does as well. And it's fantastic racing right the way through the field, because this is Christian Fittipaldi with Mika Häkkinen for close company and one of the Andretti's further back. And Schumacher is across the line. His teammate Frentzen is into the pits. So Frentzen is into the pits from second place. Senna goes up into second and Davis is up into third. But what strategies are going to be played out here as Davis goes through on the inside? And that's Senna, the two of them. So Senna must have made a mistake somewhere, I think, because that's enabled Davis to be right up behind him as we see Mika Salo in the Pacific. And Coulthard comes into the pits. Well, they're battle over 21st. It's certainly set. And that's Derek Warwick spinning in the Brabham. Yes, I'm not sure what's happened there. Perhaps we'll see a replay of that. But Derek Warwick has certainly lost the back end of the Brabham there, and he manages to keep it going, gets it facing in the right direction. And good old Del Boy, he's definitely going to be able to get back into the race as Davis comes into the pits. So Davis is into the pits on lap 25. We think it's going to be a two-stop strategy for Ferrari. But let's see what happens as Häkkinen's now trying to pass Derek Warwick, and he goes through. So Häkkinen moves up, and he also locks up a break with Jean Alesi in 6th and Barrichello in the Jordan. He's in 7th, and there goes Davis. He's up the inside of David Coulthard. So Davis had a clean stop as Prost comes into the pits. Prost is in, but Davis is up into 8th place, and he will be desperately trying to keep the momentum going in the Ferrari with Schumacher. Schumacher's 8.5 seconds to the good over Senna in 2nd, with Hill in 3rd as Warwick comes into the pits in the Brabham. And that's Alesi going underneath Martin Brundle, who's smoking. Yes, I think the Ford engine there has given up the ghost there. Brundle is out as Schumacher comes into the pits. So Schumacher's in, and Damon Hill's into the pits as well. Hill's into the pits. Is that going to give Senna the lead? Because this is going to be fantastic to see what happens here. Schumacher's across the line. He's behind Derek Warwick. It's Davis in 3rd. Salo's into the pits in 22nd place. But Frentzen is still out. He's still circulating. So Frentzen is the race leader ahead of Schumacher as we ride on board with the German. But Davis is 3rd. It's Senna in 4th. Prost is 5th. It's Damon Hill 6th with Gerhard Berger in 7th. Jean Alesi is 8th. It's Häkkinen 9th. And Barrichello's in 10th place. As we see Davis is going defensive now. He's got Senna going for the inside. He's through. Senna goes through. Yes, I'm not sure if he's actually going to get through there, because Senna looked like that was going to be quite a close battle there. It was great to see the onboard shot, but I think we really could have seen what happened with the actual TV panoramic view of that, because I'm sure that was absolutely sensational to see. As Salo lets one of the McLarens get through there, that's Häkkinen. And Davis is trying to go through on the inside now of Senna. And Davis is obviously a lot quicker in the Ferrari as he tries to go around the outside. But he can't do it. Senna covers him off. Davis tries to go through. Mr. TV Director, why are you cutting towards this at the back of the field? With Frentzen trying to make his way through, because Schumacher's only 1.5. This is the battle we want to see. Davis goes through this smoking in the Ferrari again. And Frentzen is into the pits. So Frentzen, the race leader, comes in. And that gives Schumacher the lead once more. But how far ahead is the German? That's Martini and Herbert battling over position. Schumacher's into the lead. He's 18 seconds to the good over Joey Davis, with Senna in 3rd. So Davis is still there. He's ahead of Senna. Look at this, how close it is. And now Senna has got Damon Hill for close company as he almost loses it. Senna almost spins the back of the car across the line. Is that going to give Damon Hill the opportunity to pounce? This is sensational racing. Look at this, there's Herbert and Martini battling over Terrell. There's battles from very first position right the way through the field. This is an absolutely sensational Grand Prix. We really feared that this was going to be a boring procession as Davis comes under attack once more and goes for the inside. And Hill goes through. Has Hill passed Senna? He has. So Damon Hill goes through, and yet again the TV director cuts away from the action. What is going on in the production box? Come on, here we go. And Davis is defending again, and Frentzen's trying to get through. It's Hill. It's all happening. Fantastic drama at Aida. But is Davis going to be able to keep that Williams behind him? Because Davis certainly looks as though he's really struggling for grip on those tyres at the moment. And Davis is going to have to go to the inside again. And Damon Hill's trying to get through, and he can't. So Davis, just brilliant defensive driving there from the 91 world champion. And he's just keeping Hill, Senna and Frentzen further back. But Damon Hill's got a run on him. And Davis goes for the inside. Hill's going to try and pass him around the outside into the 50-mile-an-hour hairpin, but I fear he's not going to be able to do it. Davis has got the inside line and quite correctly just covers the line. Damon Hill has to get out of the power, but Hill is in third. It's Senna fourth. It's Frentzen fifth. What drama here. This is fantastic. And once again, the TV director pans away as we see Schneider, who's absolutely nowhere in the Tyrrell, whilst up front, Davis has dropped further back down the grid, and we seem to think that something might have happened here because Davis has dropped 4 positions now. Frentzen has got ahead of him, and there's Frentzen with Damon Hill in third, it's Senna fourth, and Alain Prost is fifth, with Davis in 6th position. But Davis, what's happened there as Prost goes past Senna? Fantastic! All these drivers, they're really struggling for grip out there. It's Senna and fourth, it's Prost, they are in very close proximity to one another, with Davis in 6th position. And we still don't know why. We're not sure what's happened. But there's Davis. He makes a last-second lunge on Prost, and they touch. My goodness me. Well, they're very good friends, himself and Alain Prost, as Hill comes into the pits for his second and final pit stop, I would assume. But yes, Davis is up into 4th position now. He hasn't given the position back to Alain Prost, as Barrichello and Andretti battling their own position. Barrichello trying to find his way through, and there's Gerhard Berger in the second Ferrari. A pretty lacklustre performance from him. And Senna's into the pits in the Williams. So Senna makes his final stop, but the 2 Benettons are still out there, with Davis in third. It's Frentzen in second, and Schumacher. He's 26.3 seconds ahead. It's been a stroll in the park for the German ever since he passed Ayrton Senna on lap 2. And Schumacher's into the pits for his final stop. Fantastic. I'm pretty sure that he's actually going to emerge in the lead. It's been a quite phenomenal performance from Michael Schumacher, you really must say. As we ride on board with Schneider again in the Tyrrell, I don't know why the TV producers are so intent on the Tyrrell. Perhaps it is because of the 555 sponsorship that they have from the Japanese tobacco company, as Davis comes into the pits for what will be his final stop. And Davis is in the Ferrari. It's a Lacey in 4th, Häkkinen's 5th, but the key individuals is Damon Hill, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, because they are in 6th, 8th and 9th as Warwick comes into the pits. But where is Davis going to emerge when he's finished his stop as a Lacey comes into the pits? Is Davis going to emerge ahead of Damon Hill? He isn't. Damon Hill's ahead of him. Häkkinen's up into 3rd place in the McLaren. This is quite sensational because I just saw a flash of it there, and there's Damon Hill with Joey Davis right behind him. He's swerving about all over the gearbox of the Williams. Is he going to try and go for the inside? He does. So Damon Hill is going to try and defend, but he can't. Davis is through, and that's a Lacey pulling over. Sean Lacey is out in the Ligier-Prost. Fantastic, Lacey is out. He had such a good performance and looked like he was on for a 10 decent points. As Hill loses it, he spins. Spin, Damon Hill. He loses the Williams. As the Ferrari of Berger goes through, Senna goes through as well. And Davis is across the line again in 3rd position as Frentzen emerges from the pits. Yes, but Frentzen has managed to hold on to 2nd position. This really has been an impressive performance from Benetton today, because we ride on board with Michael Schumacher, and he's now 30.5 seconds ahead of teammate Frentzen, with Davis in 3rd. It's Häkkinen up into 4th position, and that's on merit. But Davis has just got through. He's just passed Heinz Harald Frentzen into the last corner. Sensational stuff. But Frentzen's got the run on him. Davis has got the inside line, but Frentzen forces his way through, and he's through. Fantastic racing. Davis is going to try and hang it around the outside. There's no going there. Frentzen's got him covered. Davis is weaving about.
all over the gearbox of the Benetton. Can he get through? He can't. Frentzen's got him covered again. Fantastic stuff. With only 13 laps to go. It's Davis in third. Frentzen is second. And Davis is going to try and fight, see if he can find a way past the Benetton as Frentzen defends the inside line. Davis overshoots and he goes through. Fantastic stuff, but they're side by side.
Yes, but Davis had the inside line for the tight left-hander coming up, and he goes through. This is absolutely sensational. What drama. Fantastic racing. And this time they're not banging wheels with each other. But Schumacher, the gap is now 36.7 seconds. This has relatively been an absolute stroll in the park for Michael Schumacher today. But we're right on board once again with Davis, who's surely going to go defensive against Frentzen. He tries it, but Frentzen's already made the move for the inside and he tries to get through. And ouch, they touch! He spins Davis. He touches the right rear of the Ferrari. And Davis will be absolutely incensed as he goes across the line and he's off. He's in the grass. He's into the gravel. Has he damaged the Ferrari? He spins. He's dropped down to fourth because Senna has got through. What an interesting battle that was for second place. But Davis is now in fourth position. With Senna third, it's Frentzen fourth as we ride on board with Davis. And he's got a transmission failure in the Ferrari. Goodness me. With only 3 laps to go, Davis retires. Sensation here at Aida. That is quite unbelievable. Unbelievable retirement yet again from the Ferrari team. Their reliability has been absolutely appalling in 1994. And yet again he is going to leave a race with no points as Ayrton Senna is in third place with Derek Warwick performing brilliantly well in the Prem. And it may very well be some solace to Joey Davis, who is a part owner with Unraced F1, in that they both own the Brabham team, who could very well be on for scoring their first ever World Championship points since their return as Schumacher exits the final corner. And Schumacher is across the line to win the Pacific Grand Prix in terrific style. Fantastic performance from the German. What a dominant drive. It's Frentzen who's going to be taking second place. But where is his fellow countryman? There he is. A fantastic result for Frentzen as he goes past the Brabham of Jos Verstappen. It's Frentzen in second place. Fantastic drive as well, with Senna in third, and Senna is across the line in the Williams. He's going to be utterly disappointed with that, because it's Michael Schumacher, the race winner. Fantastic Grand Prix. From the moment the lights went green, there was only going to be one winner, and the fact that Schumacher's dominant display is only his third career win is still a surprise. It just goes to show when he has the car to match his talent, he is as good as the likes of Senna or Davis, and this year's Benetton Ford looks a very daunting package indeed. Teammate Frentzen claimed a brilliant second courtesy of his 3-stop strategy, following Davis's gut-wrenching retirement in the Ferrari 3 laps from the end, and Senna deserves credit for taking third in a Williams car that obviously looks a handful at the moment. Häkkinen took a well-deserved fourth in the McLaren after a tremendous drive ahead of Hill, who was below par this weekend in fifth, whilst Prost recovered from his unscheduled pit stop late on his way to sixth ahead of a struggling Berger in seventh. Barrichello claimed a well-deserved eighth in the Jordan, but it was a delight to see points earned by both Minardi and Brabham, courtesy of Martini and Warwick claiming 9th and 10th respectively in a race that saw 17 classified finishes. Fastest lap of the race went to Prost in the Ligier with a 1 minute 13.340 ahead of Schumacher, Häkkinen, Davis and Frentzen, with Hill 6th fastest, half a second further back, with Senna somewhat surprisingly in 7th, 6/10 of a second away. On the podium, Schumacher sprayed the champagne and held his belief that a title challenge was definitely on this year. Frentzen declared there was more to come from him this season, whilst Senna again moaned about the handling issues that are currently plaguing his Williams. Elsewhere, Davis vented his frustration at a second consecutive retirement on a weekend when he demonstrably outperformed his Ferrari car before heaping praise on his Brabham team for their points-paying 10th place finish, and the Sauber drivers laid into their team following another exhaustive double retirement for Leto and Wendlinger. In the Drivers' Championship, Schumacher's win now sees the German move ahead of Hill at the top on 35 points, with Senna staying in third place, 8 points further back, whilst Frentzen remains close on 25.24, ahead of Häkkinen, Prost, Barrichello and Alesi and Berger, who are tied in 8th.
Benetton move ahead of Williams in the Constructors' Championship by 5 points as Ligier go 2 points clear of McLaren in a distant third, with Jordan 5th ahead of Ferrari, whilst Minardi and Brabham finally get on the score sheet in 7th and 8th after their impressive form this weekend. Next up, we head to Europe for the first of 3 visits as we go racing around the high-speed Imola circuit. But will Schumacher continue his dominance, or will an upgraded Williams enable Senna to finally fight for the win? Can Ferrari sort themselves out and give a frustrated Davis a car capable of winning in front of their beloved Tifosi fans? It promises to be another epic race, but for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for the 3rd round of the 1994 Formula 1 World Championship and the San Marino Grand Prix.